Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the weekly Monday Motivation Podcast and video cast. Yes, I got it. No more excuses. I am your host, Sandy Ballard, the Badass Business Coach. Thanks for being here in this cool little pod I found to record this. Thanks for being here, for listening, watching, and sharing this podcast with others, and most importantly, investing in you. And wow, just trying to think of what to talk about this week. I thought about usually something a client's going through or myself. So the last few weeks I've talked about my own personal shitstorm that's been going on and the things that have been distracting me and taking me off track. But more so, what can I leverage to finish the year strong? I've been talking with a lot of clients about that as we start doing goal reviews and goal setting for the next year. Yes, leverage is the title of my most recent book, my fourth book. It's available on Amazon. But it's more so of like, what can you leverage? What can I leverage? What can you leverage to get to that next level? And so I started really thinking about this. And because I opened up the book and was like, well, what did I write about? What do you have to leverage? And Merriam-Webster, as I put in the book, their definition of leverage is the action of a lever or the mechanical advantage gained by it, the power, effectiveness, or the use of credit as something else, someone else's talent to get something opened, get something to that next level. My own personal definition of leverage is the ability to tap into yours or others' uniqueness, talent, skill set, or abilities, your superpower, to help you achieve the success you desire, right? So it's a matter of how you look at it and really what you think you have to leverage. And that's really what I wrote about in the book, is what you have. Do you have more time than money? Do you have a specific skill or talent? Who do you know? Do you have a great connection or database to tap into? So I talk about a lot of times is not being afraid to ask for help, but knowing who and how to ask for that help. And then also looking at your mindset, your energy, and who you are. As a DISC certified coach, I work with a lot of clients on who they are, how they communicate. Are they introverted or extroverted? Are they detail oriented? All that kind of stuff, so they can learn how to tap into that and help themselves finish this year strong, help them finish any goal strong, and get to that next level. The last few weeks, like I shared, I've talked a lot about how things have gotten me off track. And even last Monday, the man Candy was working at home and I couldn't get done what I wanted to get done, but I looked at it and responded in a different way. I didn't just go, well, I can't get that done, but here's what I can do. And that's what I did. And looking at, last week I talked about, are you busy or are you productive? Making sure what you're doing is really helping you get to that next level. And by the end of the week, I had actually forgotten I was going to do some busy work because I couldn't do my productive work because of the extra noise in the house. I actually forgot. Ended up getting really super productive and into some things and forgot to clean the oven. I sprayed it, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I just left the cleaner in there. So that was good. I realized I was productive and not just busy. Yes, cleaning the oven is important, but it was not going to help me get to that next level. So thinking about how are you spending your hours in your day? There's a great quote, of course, because I put it in the book, but no, a quote I came across that I'm going to make sure to read. The hours ordinary people waste are the hours extraordinary people leverage. Robin Sharma. So thinking about that, again, how are you using your hours? Are you busy or are you productive? But looking at how you use them to help you get to the next level, how you use them to make progress, how you use them to achieve your goals. Okay, so a client a few months ago called me freaking out. She had overslept for whatever reason and was in a tailspin. She was overwhelmed. She was stressed out. And, she was like, how am I going to get it all done? What am I going to do? She was mad at herself. And I'm like, calm down. Okay. That in a movie where you see somebody freaking out and somebody else smacks them across the face. It was sort of a virtual one over the phone. It's like, pull it together. It's like, okay, what time are you going to go to bed? She said 11 p.m. I said, okay, well, it's 11 a.m. You have 12 hours. Do you have 12 hours worth of work you have to do? Looking at that, looking at how are you using the hours you have to get things done is really what's important to you and what's important to achieving your goals. So thinking through that, and that's an activity I've done with many clients over many, many years, is what time do you get up in the morning? What time do you go to bed at night? Okay. So then you can leverage the hours you have during that time, because most of us should be awake more hours than it takes to get everything done, right? Should. So looking at that, so that's an activity I'd like you to do. Write down what time you get up, what time you go to bed, and then what's important to you. Do you work out? When do you work out? Do you have little kids and you want to have breakfast, or at least make breakfast for them, or do they have breakfast at school? Do you just make sure you have family dinner, or even if you don't have kids, is dinner time with your honey important to you? I love personally making dinner and having that with the man Candy and just talking about our day. Before he had his job that is a decent amount of drive, we used to have breakfast every morning as well to talk about what we were going to do today and just kind of really kickstart our morning. But writing that down. So what are those things that are important to you, and blocking out that time? Okay. And then what are you going to do with the rest of it? It depends on what you do for a living. Do you need big blocks of time? Do you need little chunks of time? Do you need multiple breaks? Are you really, do you do a lot of research, or is your work intense to where you need a lot of mental breaks in between the hours in the day kind of thing? So, only you can decide, but really looking at that and identifying that we probably all do waste a good amount of time, but it's all right. So looking at that. So I'd really love to hear from you. Either comment wherever you're seeing this or hearing this, or email me, sandy@sandyballard.com, and tell me how that activity went for you. What did you realize? How are you leveraging the hours that you have in your day? And then talking about leverage, overall, as I wrote in the book, some of the things you can leverage are, do you have more time than money, or vice versa? What skills, talents do you have? Who do you know? What's your database, or your connections, your friends look like? What are their skills and talents? What about your mindset, or in other words, your energy level? How can you tap into that to really be as productive as you can be? And then who are you? I'm a DISC certified coach, so I spend a lot of time with clients working with them on that. Are you introverted, extroverted? Are you detail oriented or not? What do you need to help you get to that next level and finish the year strong, finish any goal strong, right? So, along with the client who I helped her realize she had a lot more time in the day, a lot of hours she could leverage, I have a client who is, much as I don't understand how you could stay up till 2:30 in the morning working, that's when his energy flows. That's his best time. So making him a morning person, or trying to get him to do anything at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning, it's not going to work. It's not going to be good for him, but don't ask me to stay up till 1:30 or 2:30 in the morning working. It will not be pretty, right? So, looking at that, looking at what you do for a living, and where your energy is. Maybe you have to get up early in the morning because you have kids, but then do you need a little break and then really dig in and get going later in the day, later in the morning, or in the afternoon, like him? Thinking about that. Connections. Who do you know? Like I've talked about, who do you know that you can ask for help? So identifying, I just had a client that really we started talking about what's going on in his business. He's a newer client, and he was like, I just am the most unorganized person. Well, okay. So we talked through some software, some different things that he might try and use to help him, and different habits, recurring actions, but also now he needs a staff person. So he's looking, now he knows who he can hire, because he knows he needs someone that's a lot more organized than he is. So that's what he needs to do. He needs to tap into somebody else's superpower of being super organized to help him and help the company grow, right? And yes, tapping into that, leveraging other people's superpowers, other people's skills and talents, is not just using them in a negative way. It's using them collectively. Like, I tapped into some friends, some connections to help get some interviews and some book signing events set up for when I'm back in Indianapolis in December. So it wasn't necessarily using them in a negative way. It was using their connections. So my connections had connections. So thinking about that, who's in your database, but what do you need to do that? What can you leverage to help you? So tapping into even who you are, how you communicate. One of the things, I'm an extrovert, highly extroverted, so I did a lot of just picking up the phone and making phone calls versus emailing. And if you're more comfortable emailing or texting, that's fine. That is okay. Just making sure it's actually getting you what you need. I wasn't getting the responses I needed via email, so again, have no problem picking up the phone and making those calls. And if that's not something you're comfortable with, see if that one of your connections can make a connection for you, can help you by doing an email introduction and things like that. So again, looking at all the things you have in your world to leverage to help you, like I said, finish the year strong, achieve those goals you desire, and get to where you want to go. All right. So look forward to hearing from you this week on that little activity. Remember, what time do you get up? What time do you go to bed? What's important to you and only you? And what are you going to do with your hours? How are you going to leverage the hours to be productive and not just busy? All right. Look forward to hearing from you, and continue to finish the year strong. Cheers.